beautiful Monday morning, the 9th November 2020, and so warm welcome to your breakfast program. Good morning to you on the final edition of this week, and it's coming to you from the nation's #1 award-winning media house, the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. We are your presenter. I am Sonia Jafal, and with me we have...
I am Kojo Kwafo. Now, our wise words for today is an African proverb, and it says, good fences make good neighbors. I don't know how that works, but...
It does work, you know.
In today's edition of the program, the City Council of Freetown has unveiled its new City Hall. As Christmas approaches, armed robbery seems to be on the increase. What is the police doing about it? We'll find out in the program this morning. And also in the program, the Ministry of Education is to conduct school census. All this and more, like up in the program this morning. Please be a part of the program by sharing your thoughts with us by sending in your text messages to the number 030-280-270. You can also be a part of the program on our Facebook handle or other social media platforms. Let's now start with our coronavirus preventive message.
You see what them people here wear the mask them fine? Well, now so yourself for wear your mask. Cover your nose and you much all time where you didn't other person.
The Minister of Basic Education, David Senge, has launched the expansion of school choice for NPSC and Becker candidates. This expansion will enable pupils to fill in 3 schools of their choice for their entries for public examinations as in the past. It will enable parents and school authorities to reduce the stress of placement of pupils when they pass their examinations. Also, the ministry will be conducting a census of all schools in the country. Well, for us to delve more into these issues, we have the communications expert in the Ministry of Education, Ibrahim Fodi Sharif, and also with us here this morning is Alfonso Manley. He is the Executive Director of Civil Rights Coalition. Good morning and welcome to the program, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having us. Mr. Fodi Sharif, I think I should start with you with regards to pupils now being able to select 3 schools, or parents selecting 3 schools of choice for their children. What led to this decision?
Well, it's one of the innovations of our dynamic minister, Honorable Dr. David Moynihan Senge, by critically thinking about an issue that has become almost like a pandemic. I mean, there is a psychological issue attached to this kind of thing because, you know, students are always very eager to move on to the next level in their education. And so when they take these public exams and they choose schools, they are very eager to enter into those schools. But before, they have only one choice. And so once a student is unable to be accepted, either because there is not enough space in that particular school or because he or she did not get the average or the score that the school requires, then that pupil or that child will not be accepted in that school. Now think about the psychological effect that is attached to that. So in order to address that issue, one, it is an enhancement to the implementation trajectory of the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education or the Free Quality School Education, and also to bring a relief to either the parents or the pupils. So now they have 3 options. You can have your first option, your second option, and your third option. If you do not attend the first, you can always have a second option and a third option. So at the end of the day, the goal is that the child will be able to be placed in a school of his or her choice. Even if not the first choice, the second choice, but there is a third choice. So this is a huge relief.
But I believe this was, so I think it's been resuscitated because it was something that was done in the 70s from research and everything through the common entrance exam as it was known back then, MPS and everything. So I believe back in the 70s, 3 options were given for students. So is that what drives the minister to resuscitate that back and make it easier for parents?
That could be a contributing factor. But this decision was based on realistic data. I mean, all of us saw how parents and children were scrambling this year, particularly to get into, to be placed in schools. So probably that would have ignited the review of the 1970s, you know, or we're looking at the real-time effect of the kind of way we saw children and their parents scrambling to get their children to get to those schools. I think we always have to have solutions to problems. When problems present themselves, let us not keep talking about the problem, but let us have solutions. So this is a solution to that problem.
And again, if I'm going in for a public examination and let's say I select the Sierra Leone Grammar School as my first school of choice, you know, I would want to attend the grammar school because that's where most of my friends are going, and that's where I want to go. Maybe there are family ties attached to that school. And so sometimes, as you said earlier on, it will have some psychological effect if you're not able to make the grade for that school.
Right.
But let's come to the issue of the actual learning. You know, is it that the reason why kids now have to have 3 choices because of they can't really make the grades for the first or second choice of school?
No, I don't think that's the reason. The reason is no child should be left behind. You know, the free quality school education has 4 core components. You know, one of the components is completion. We have to ensure that we don't entertain any more school dropouts. We have to ensure that children are moving on. They are moving on. You know, nobody is being left behind. So this is to encourage children that you have to do very well for you to go to your first choice. Because first choice is always a first choice. You know, to go to your first choice. But if you are unable to enter that first choice, then you have another option, and which is the second choice or the third choice. So, but I tell you, it is the choice of the child or the parents. It is not somebody saying, oh, you did not get this grade, so now we are going to send you to this other school. No, it is the choice of the child and their parents coming together to make that choice.
What about an instance, what if all the school, because I would say, you know, there are actually a few top schools that people are eager to go to. What if a child tends to choose those 3 top schools and it happens that these schools are all full? What will be a plan B in regards to that?
Well, plan B had always been, in the first place, before the introduction of this policy, is that when a child chooses a school as the choice, you know, let's say Prince of Wales, and you happen not to get the score to enter Prince of Wales, or because Prince of Wales now doesn't have enough space. So the second choice from the perspective of the ministry was for us to look for a school that is within your previous primary school, the environment, you know, within your primary school, for you to go to that school. So we did not announce a plan B, but that could be a plan B, wherein if you do not meet the criteria for those 3 schools, then obviously government has tried to help you to get to that point. So this is also going to put a lot of motivation and inspiration into children for them to do well. I mean, you cannot be a candidate for those public exams if you cannot fulfill the conditions for those 3 choices. So when it doesn't happen, then now you have to come up with some solution.
Alfonso is also here. Alfonso, let's turn the mic to you now, because this will, I don't know how you see the situation, but this will also certainly help parents, because we know, as you say, it's almost becoming like a pandemic. Right. That's probably a bigger word to be but this will certainly help parents, because we know the struggle that parents go through to eventually get their kids enrolled into a school after examinations, okay? Especially if they don't meet the grades, you know, for that particular school, and they have to spend a lot of money. You know, sometimes, you know, teachers just extort money from them, promising that I'll get your kid into the school and all of that. So I know how you see all of this.
Yeah, thank you very much. This has formed part of our report, monitoring the free quality education. As Sheriff said, we have 4 core components of the free quality education. Government, once you start, you know, whether it is in early childhood development, nursery school, primary school, JSS, SSS, in those 4 components, one of them is retention. And when they go to class 6, they search for a particular school, as you say, and the school refuse them entering, perhaps they do not have the grade for the school, most of them tend to drop out. Because when they go find in school, you have to pay up to $1 million. It's not exaggeration. So with the ministry coming with this kind of policy to ensure they have free choice, because what normally obtains, if they do not have the grade for the school, the ministry place them, and in those placements, most of the placement people do not like the particular school, so they will be at the back of their parents, go find me a school, this is the school I want. So giving them the opportunity for that's innovation education, and also is to reduce the burden on parents and solving the psychological issue for these pupils. Mark you, in the free quality education, when once there is an increase in enrollment, when once you want to see increase in the retention rates, what are the programs? So this is one of the innovative programs. Let's have them free choices. So whatever being the case, they still continue their schooling. Okay. That will retain them in class, so they'll go to completion.
Okay, well, I don't know if this is something that you implemented, or probably you guys are thinking of implementing it. Has there been a scenario where we say, okay, the ministry in collaboration with the WIEC and schools, because we've seen issues that we are, let me say, 2,000 of students, end up putting in for a particular school, but then they're not able to be accommodated because of the space. Has there been a thought of where we say, okay, let's start counting amount of students that will be going for this particular school, so whenever another person wants to put in, we'll tell them, oh, the space is not enough, just to ensure that they don't go through such hassle again. Has there been a thought of that as well, to collaborate and ensure that they know the amount of particular students to expect per school as to reduce the stress?
Well, the question would be, when those children want to enter a specific school, yeah, and we tell them, oh, the space is filled, now where do we send them? That's the question. And number two, yeah, we really want to leave it open to the children to make their choice, because it is critical decision making for the progress of the child. They want to go to a specific school. Now, if the score that school needs for you to enter that school is high, then it means you as the child choosing that school have to work very hard. And we want our children to work hard. So we don't want to go to the point where we begin to stop them from, even before they take the exams, that, oh, you are not going to go to the school. Let's leave the choice open, okay, so that can motivate them more, it can inspire them more, to do more. But probably it is a good question. We might look into that in the future, but for now, I don't see it.
That would lessen the expectation, yeah, of becoming hot in the future.
So at the end of the day, all of the children who are unable to enter a specific school, we start to ask the question, where do we send them? So the three options, we solve that,
What's the rationale of the census? Because you're conducting a census of all schools in the country.
Well, every year we conduct annual school census. The census is conducted to understand the evidence-based data or information about our schools in this country. How many pupils were enrolled in the past year? How many teachers trained and qualified? Who are the teachers that are untrained and unqualified? How many furniture we have in the school? What is the size of the classroom? What are the furniture requirements of that classroom? The school infrastructure, the amenities, water, sanitation, everything pertaining to the school. The ministry needs that data, because that data solves two problems. One, it enables us to make evidence-based decisions. Now, because when we look at the map of Sierra Leone, we can see where schools are densely populated, where they are sparse, and then we can look at that and make a decision as to where we need to construct more schools, where we need to put in more amenities, stuff like that. It also addresses the issue of comparing our school data with other countries, because we are doing this, we are a signatory to very important global partners in education, and they use this data to compare how Sierra Leone is at par with other countries, right? So that is why we emphasize on the integrity of the data. Now we have just given out up to 650 tablets to principals of senior secondary schools across the country, including government assistants and private schools, across the country, because we need this data, and we are trying to eliminate past errors. So that is why we are issuing out this data, so we can get real-time information from the principals. By just hitting the submit button, we get it real time in the ministry. So this will enable us to get the real-time data. So the emphasis is is on integrity. We want the principals to know that we have given a very serious responsibility to them. We don't want them to think about the fact that, oh, if I give them more numbers, I'm going to get more money for subsidy, or they are going to send more food to me to give to my children. We don't want principals to think that way. This is a patriotic duty. You have to give us credible data, because this data is going to determine a lot of things we will do to make progress in education, and even to compare our country to other countries.
Alfonso, are you going to be part of this process for the census, and what are the things that you would like to see being done properly?
I'm part of the process, and let me state it clearly that the census the ministry is going to conduct this November is for the last school academic year.
Not for
because we do not want data gap. Because in terms of, you have data to inform you in terms of policy and planning and resource allocation in the education sector, you need credible and reliable data that will inform you. Mark you, the ministry is also collaborating with key institutions like NACRA, Statistics Sierra Leone, NACOT, Conference of Principals, CSO. What has been the point with census and government paying subsidy? There are some unscrupulous principal head of school I must say, and I will say, and I'm emphasizing that actually in terms of enrollment, we actually do not give credible information. Mark, last year you heard of what we call head count for schools. This was as a result of our monitoring. If you say a particular school, they will tell you they have an enrollment of 800,000 pupils,
Wow.
300,000, 1,500. You go to monitor this school, you meet half of the pupils. Where are the rest? They cannot be found. If you stay in school one street. So we brought this up to the ministry, and the ministry did an head count, and there were huge variances in various schools. Though again, the head count was faulty because of one or two issues, but we actually ascertained that numbers are being inflated because government is paying direct subsidy. So if we want to use the data for planning, government will not actually plan well because the data itself is not credible. So this is our role as civil society to talk to head of school to ensure they give credible information. This year school census we conduct for the last academic year. You know, in the policy of the government, at least a chiefdom should have a secondary school. So this is why this census, they're using the global positioning system. So to say, it will inform us in particular area B. There are no primary school and there is no secondary school. So Kojoko for coming in, you know, want to your social corporate responsibility, you want to construct school in Kolifa Magbang. It means in Kolifa Magbang there are enough schools. Why don't you go to Yoni in the same to construct this school? You know, so it helps government to plan, and the ministry do not want data gap. For this academic year, it will be conducted again in February next year. But this now is for last academic year, and there will be photos. For instance, they will take pictures of teachers, the wash facilities, the structure of the school, all facilities in the school, including core textbook, learning and teaching material. So the ministry know that yes, we've supplied textbook, but school A, B, C, and D, there are shortages of textbook. School F and G, you oversupply them, you know. So this is the essence of a school census. So what we are doing as a civil society is to kind of sensitize the public, sensitize teachers, sensitize entire populace to know that the process have started last Saturday. There were trainings, one at Aniwolch, the other at Rokel, the other at Waterloo. Training principle because and Emiratos, they've been given tablets, and this tablet is a novelty. In 2010 up to 2017, it's a paper-based census, which means you use paper and you travel with the paper from Kubola to Freetown. Unlike this one, with the tablet, you can just click a button, send information to Sheriff. So Sheriff will be able to ascertain that this school year in Binkolo, the primary school, is the name, number of teachers, number of pupils, facility in the school. So if government is planning, you know, so this data will inform government to to take correct decision, relevant and timely decision in the education sector to achieve the free quality education.
Mr. Sharif, now you've given these head teachers and principals these tablets, and they're going to be inputting the figures and all of that of the number of teachers, number of pupils and all of that, number of desks, not so, and chairs,
and
all that. But how are you going to verify that in fact the data that they have inputted and sent to you are correct?
We are going to have enumerators attached to each school. Enumerators are people that we are going to hire just for this, to be spread out all over the country to work together with the principals and to ensure that there is proper monitoring, there is proper input of the data, and that's the question you are asking, how we are going to monitor or verify that they are actually doing real-time verification of each one of the inputs. And so whatever data we get will be credible. So in as much as we have given them the tablets, but they are going to be assisted by enumerators that are going to be there in the schools.
Well, you know, the enumerators, there have been concerns being raised, what they usually been when they're referring to certain parts of the country, districts and all. They ought to just send someone and tell them, please, how many amounts of people do you think might be in that school? Or how many desks? So, you know, like that, let someone do their job. So how are you going to ensure that is not being done? Also that they ensure they do the actual work that they're supposed to do.
Well, you see,
what's being put in place? Is there a GPS or something that has been put in
there is
place?
a global positioning system that is embedded in the tablets. So when you hit a send button or submit button, it's telling us from what location. So you know, so that is being captured.
So the enumerators, they too are going to have their own tablet?
No, they are going to use the tablet together with the principals.
With the principal.
Yeah. Okay. So when they hit submit, we know where they are from.
Alfonso, are you confident over the integrity of these enumerators, that there are no connivance to take place between them and the head teachers and principals?
So this is why we are part of the process to ensure transparency and accountability in the education sector. And what we did before this training, we vet those enumerators together with the comms team, you know, to ensure that even the head teacher might want to give an information that is not correct, you stand the test of time to say no. For instance, where is the register? You say 800 pupils, but in this register I'm seeing 50 pupils. When I go through the register, absent. Do you think what's the reason for that? Are they coming to school? So you will not give us 50 names, so you continue to receive those subsidies for 50 pupils that are not in school. Depriving other schools from having furnitures, depriving other teachers who have not gone PINCO, so government spend this money on teachers. This is why you should be credible. And in the training they had Saturday, you know, the director of planning, Madam Adama Momo, made it clear to them that the reason for this is to ensure that when we put money or resources in the education sector, it goes the right way and we derive the benefits.
And is it going to be like an annual thing?
It's annual since 2010. Okay. I just told you that it has moved from paper-based to machine-based. This is why they have the tablet. Because having to collect all of those papers, 2-3 million papers, and this is not only for government and government-assisted schools, it is also for private schools. So what government need to do after this census, as to have advised the ministry, popularize the outcome of the census. Let the public know that in terms of the data on the census, 30% of schools are only 30% of schools are only connected to pipe water. 20% depend on hand-dug well. 2% no source of. So it gives you the information. So if UNICEF, for instance, who is supporting what facility in school, they want to support school, they'll just go to the annual census document. It will inform them the number of teachers, number of facilities which need to be upgraded. So the annual census is key, and because the ministry do not want this data gap, so this is why they are now conducting this for last year because of the COVID.
And I'm sure the data is trying to, with this census, you're trying to capture every available information around education for these kids. And earlier on, Alfonso was talking about every chiefdom having a secondary school, because we also realized that kids have to walk long distances to school. So is this something that you took into consideration when putting together the questionnaire for the census, about asking how far some kids have to come from to attend a particular school, especially in the region.
Well, yeah, definitely. The census is always there to provide credible data that we can use to make decisions that positively impact education. And one of them is what you are talking about now. Now, we were informed through census that there were about 26 chiefdoms in the country that did not have a junior secondary school. And so we went ahead with the blessing of the president for us to establish those 26, JSS, those 26 chiefdoms, not district chiefdoms. And so annual school census helps us to make decisions like those. So when we are able to capture all of the critical information about education and you populate that on the map of Sierra Leone, it's easy for you to look at the map in front of you and see where we need more schools, where we do not need more schools, where we need more secondary schools, more primary schools, toilet facilities, wash stations, all of this information. So we are trying to capture as enough information as possible so that by next academic year we are able to have a full understanding of the status of our schools or status of education and what we need to do moving forward. And it also helps government at large, especially like the Ministry of Finance. They use this data to pay subsidies or to spend, generally on education in this country. When the president launched the free quality school education, the president and the government allocated 21% of the national budget to education. Now, because of how much government has spent, not donor partners, but government has spent on education, that percentage has now gone up to 22%. So if government is spending that much money on education, then we need to have credible data. That is why we really say that the responsibility now falls on the principals for them to give us credible data, even though we are going to have those enumerators working with them, but we rely on them. We don't always want to add somebody to you to give us credible data. You should know that you are in a role where your activities are responsible for the future of this country. So we need credible data to make informed decisions.
Right, I think we only have about 2 minutes in this session, but you have a text message.
Yes, there have been a text message that just came in for you guys. The Ministry of Basic Education is doing a great job. And when is the government-wide result coming out? This is coming from Aisata Lamina, Savage Choir. People are talking about the results.
Right, I know. I have seen fake press releases out there.
Yes.
And, we want to tell people, including the media and the general public, that anytime you see a press release, if it doesn't have the official stamp of the Ministry of Basic or the signature, right?
It didn't have a stamp.
It didn't have a stamp or the signature of the Senior Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Basic.
English was terrible.
Exactly. So you see, so you don't take it as a press release from us. And so we are expecting that very soon, very, very soon, that the WASC result is going to be out. We do not know the date yet, but we know it's going to be out this November.
Right. Yes, Alfonso, I see.
Yeah, and lastly, let me also talk to the Ministry of Finance. Because Sheriff spoke of the allocation, 21% and the 22%. Not so far from now, we have the Education Week. There is a week lined up program. We expect the Ministry of Finance to come in to give us a disaggregated data as to how they will spend this 21% since the launch of the free price. For instance, if the 21% is supposed to be 1.14 trillion. So this 1.14 trillion, how much have we spent on subsidy, wash facility, teacher's salary? And mark you, this is not only for basic, including higher education. You must understand this because I'm part of the non-state actors who always advocate for budget increase in some of the MDAs. So it's not only for the Ministry of Basic Education. So one that analysis from the Ministry of Finance. This academic year is 22%. How are you spending the money? The public want to know. So if they know they come along with you, then pounds on taxpayers, continue to pay your tax.
Okay.
So government continue. But if We don't have the analysis for Ministry of Finance, just saying 21%, 22%. Let's have this aggregated data information as to how you have spent this money.
Right. Thank you very much, Alfonso. Thank you to you, Mr. Fudisha, from the Ministry of Education. The program is Good Morning Sierra Leone, coming to you live from the SLBC. When we come back, we'll see how best we can tackle the issue of armed robbery, even as we look forward to the very, very wonderful Christmas.
Good morning! Good morning! Good morning! Good morning to you!
As a mother of the house, whenever I want to prepare palm soup, there's no need pounding palm fruit. All I need is Nkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base. My soup is done, and its preparation, it is not difficult at all. Nkulenu palm soup base, it's easily done with no difficulties. Just take few ladles and your soup is done. And its flavor, it's amazing. This is Nkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base. And this is Nkulenu's Ghana's original spiced palm soup base. Iron fruit and turkey berries are naturally added.
Also available brown gold natural cocoa powder, sunny gold brown sugar, meat fufu flour, shito, pisa and moringa. All available at Nyami Ado Enterprise, 1 Waterloo Street, Freetown.
Nkulenu palm soup base.
Ghanaian original taste.
Good morning! Good morning! Good morning! Good morning to you!
This is Good Morning Sierra Leone, streaming live from the Australian Broadcasting Corporation. I am Sonia Jeffal, and with me I have...
I'm Kojo Kwafo.
So as we continue the program, as the festive season of Christmas draws near, reports reaching the Australian Broadcasting Corporation has been receiving reports of armed robberies in various parts of the country, particularly in the Central Business District and the Lumley Beach. What are the security measures that have been put in place to keep residents safe? We have in the studio the Assistant Superintendent of Police, Samuel Sayo Conte, Deputy Director of Police, to tell us more. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
So as you know, these have been issues that have been raised by concerned citizens of armed robbery being not just usually they will say they happen at night time, but now even daylight time people tend to rob. So what are the measures being put in place to ensure the safety of the people in the country?
Yeah, thank you very much. As I do speak, the management of the Sierra Leone Police is very much concerned that the festive season is fast approaching, and it is that phase that is responsible for strategizing. You know, they plan, after which we have the tactical, that is the commander at various points and stations, even at the provincial areas, divisional areas, and we have the operational level. The operational level is what we refer to as the field operatives. They go on the ground on daily basis, do foot patrols, vehicular patrols, night patrols, beat patrols, increase our police visibility. We also have personnel that you not know that they are police officers, because we have what we call covert intelligence and surveillance. You hardly realize that they are police personnel. But the issue of theft and armed robbery to a very large extent should not be tolerated, and we are doing our best for people to enjoy themselves, to go to bed safe, and also do their business safe. Now, management is emphasizing on this three-pronged strategy: consistency, alertness, and of course, vigilance. Many times we see our communities, bad youths, people usually engage in some activities that are very bad. The aidman, the councillor, the honorable, the youth leader, the chairlady, all these key stakeholders are there. They will see. For us, those are the hubs in which bad people do gather to do havoc at night. So we are telling key stakeholders that in as much as we are doing our best as police, as an institution, please cooperate in giving timely. What I mean by timely, before the incident occur, tell the police we have our toll-free line 112 for Orange and Africell.
Okay,
exactly.
Please tell me, you hardly know that someone is going to come and bump you or rob you at night. So there's no way you can possibly inform the police about what you don't know.
So that's what we.
However, does the police have, let's say, a standard response time in case a crime is taking place somewhere, such as an armed robbery at night, and then someone happens to call the police? How long does it take for the police to respond?
Of course, naturally, you know that it is our responsibility. Whenever we have a distress call, we do go there promptly because it is our legislative mandate.
Is there any stipulated time attached to the promptness?
Well, it depends on the time, Kojo. It depends on the area. It depends on the terrain. And of course, many times you see, I don't want to say this on air, even the bad people, they monitor these programs. They also have their modus operandi.
So you don't want to say how long it takes the police to respond?
Well, the simple answer, we act promptly to distress calls. But at times, people do reside on the hills, areas that are not motorable. And these people, these are some of the things I don't want to say on here. These people are very crafty. They will say, for instance, sway the police, in other words, call distress call. Maybe they are operating at Lumley. They will call to divert the attention of the police that they are at Wellington. So, you see, Kojo, we are having a very difficulties in terms of these issues, but we are mapping out strategies.
If the crime is taking place at Lumley,
we are mapping out strategies.
I believe that the police at Lumley, police station, should be able to respond to that incident at Lumley.
Yes.
And if something is taking place at Wellington, there should be a police station or police personnel at Wellington to respond to that particular incident. So I don't see how something will be happening at Lumley, and then the thieves or whoever is calling, say, oh, we are at Wellington.
Yeah, that is true. Of course, I will not just try to emphasize something that is not realistic. The point here is these people do plan, and that's why we always try to beat their planning. And in doing so, we have the quick response group, and we also have the rapid response team, as you've asked the question. Promptly, we don't want to see people in distress mood and we sit back. No. At any time we have a distress call, we go there promptly, and that's what management is emphasizing on. It is our responsibility.
The thieves or armed robbers do carry guns. Where do they get them from?
Weapons.
Well, as I said yesterday, of course, many times people, I don't know whether it's the negative perception they have against the police. Those that you've arrested, those that you've charged to court, we strongly believe that if they had cooperated with the police in terms of responding to our questions, many times they will prefer to go to jail, to spend a jail time there without telling the police the correct information. So, for us, we believe that...
Is that out of fear?
Well, maybe there is a syndicate that they are failing to let us know. But all what we are saying, if there is a syndicate or a link,
is it that they actually do tell the investigator where they get the gun from, but that they are being coerced into saying, well, that's not where I got it from?
Some do tell our investigators, but good majority of them always fail to cooperate with the police for the simple fact that if maybe they do, we're going to arrest all those who are involvement in crime, whether principal in the first degree, accessory before the fact, after the fact. So we'll go on to them. That's the problem.
A large percentage of members of the public are of the opinion that the criminals do get these guns from police officers. Have you ever arrested any armed robber, you know, that has confessed that they got the gun from a policeman or policewoman?
Well, that's what I said yesterday. If, to answer the question very strictly, is that no. Many times these armed robbers will say they had the gun for neighboring countries, they smuggle it into this country. But if there is a link or connection with any serving personnel, trust me, Kojo, we are going to name and shame that individual, discipline him or her, and also charge him to court.
In the same vein, it's not only about the guns, but also the police uniforms. You know, thieves have been caught in police uniforms, you know, impersonating policemen. Where did they get them from?
And that's the more reason we put out a very strong press release that any individual or group of people who are in the habit of manufacturing, importing, distributing, selling and putting on this camouflage, it is an offense, and we've arrested very recently an individual with full regalias of the military attire, inspector. The last time, captain. Also, very recently, a police inspector, the fake police inspector. So you see, we've been doing our best, and of course, we just need the cooperation of the public.
And of course, we know that Britain is dealing with COVID-19, America is dealing with COVID-19, and most of the dual citizens who happen to be Sierra Leoneans are looking forward to coming home this Christmas because they're not going to be locked away indoors. Some have already started coming. And the reports we're getting is that Lumley Beach is now like a precinct for thieves.
They do robbery.
So how are you going to protect citizens in that part of the city?
The regional commander, Freetown West, CSP Gabriel Tommy, and the local unit commanders from that particular region, that is Lumley itself, Aberdeen, Mountain, you name it, they are all sleeping every night, to be precise, in their stations. You see, they are human beings. They hardly go to their homes. They do sleep at the stations just to give strategic planning, motivation to the field operatives. So we are aware that the festive period is approaching. In as much as they are planning, that is the bad boys, we are also doing our own plan to always beat their planning. And as I do speak, viewers, go to Congo Cross. The three most hardcore criminals they are in our net at Congo Cross. Go to Rosswood, AIG Samadia, the Iron Man, and also the local unit commander there, Dennis Taylor, and even CSP Laisao. You see, all these local unit commanders and our regional commanders, they are very active. We just need, that is the point we want to lay emphasis on. Consistency, in other words. Don't go to bed without just checking round your compound. Always, you should be alert. What do I mean? If you see a strange individual, if you see a strange movement, if you see a strange action, please don't keep it by yourself. Inform the police, and we shall always be at your aid so that peace and tranquility will strive in Sierra Leone.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, please, Mr. Conte, he's the deputy head of the Sierra Leone Police Media. Thanks for coming in this morning to talk to us. All right, we move on with the program. Good morning, Sierra Leone on the SLBC. Tragically, millions of children from all over the globe have become orphaned for many reasons: war, famine, displacement, disease, or poverty. Well, to make sure that they are not forgotten, once a year there's a special day dedicated just to them. World Orphans Day, which falls on the second Monday of each November. This special day has been put in place in order to draw attention to the plight of the world's orphans, and so on this day people are encouraged to actively participate in helping raise awareness, support and funding for motherless and fatherless children worldwide. Well, to talk more about this issue, we have in the studio William Taylor from Orphan Empowerment Society. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Yeah, good morning.
So
Yes.
how are you guys celebrating today?
Yeah, actually today, as we all know, is a World Orphan Day, and we cannot leave this day unnoticed. So every year we do celebrate the World Orphan Day, and it is worldwide. And we, as well in Sierra Leone, we have an organization called the Orphan Empowerment Society, TOES for short, who do help orphans with the requisite skills, knowledge and trainings to make sure that they also can stand on their feet and be self-sufficient. So we are going to celebrate this day today at the Brookfields Hotels, where we're going to have a humanitarian goodwill award. People who have been helping orphans, people who have been playing great roles to make sure that these orphans or caregivers have the necessary things that are needed to impact their lives.
What will be the activities involved in today's celebration?
So like I said, today we are going to have the Humanitarian Goodwill Award. We are going to recognize people who have been playing a role in our organization and as well in the lives of these kids. We have organization and as well individuals that have been doing and helping orphans with various things that are needed.
We know how difficult it is for one to grow up without a mother, not a father. It can be very, very stressful. It's psychological. You know, it has lots of psychological effects and all of that. And we see every day what orphaned children go through. Some of them are left with family members or other relatives to take care of them. And we know that they're being maltreated to a very large extent. Some of them, relatives do take good care of them, you know, but others, and the majority of them, are not being adequately or properly looked after. And so imagine I see kids on the streets, kids about the age of 5 carrying the Avolin rubber with water, and you're asking them, well, who sent you to carry this water? Oh, it's my aunt. Oh, it's my uncle. Oh, it's my cousin. You know, kids staying late, you know, out on the streets, you know, at about 8 o'clock you see a tiny kid trying to cross the road, and you're asking them, but what are you doing on the streets, in the streets at this time of the night? You know, and they'll just give you that vain look. You know, just the other day on Pademba Road, you know, a child a girl about the age of my own daughter, which is about 7, you know, I think she had just come back from school, and she crossed the road by herself. And that was my heart just went for me, because I can't imagine my own daughter at about 7 crossing main Pademba Road by herself. And then immediately she crossed, said to the person walking next to me, how could people leave their kids? The girl is coming from school. You should send someone to pick them up and take her home. And then you know what happened? The girl attempted to cross the street again, and this Okada was coming. I had to shout, yo! And that was the time everybody around took attention, and everybody started saying, oh, people are careless. Oh, how could they leave a child like this? And the child was walking all by herself. Innocent looking child. And I'm sure that child doesn't have a mother or a father. That could easily be an orphan. These are situations that you look at and try to address, are they?
Yeah, so when we look at facets of society, there are so many reasons that have been causing the increase of orphans in Sierra Leone. Because the world at large, we have over 140 million orphans, and I know that after this COVID-19 it's going to increase. And Sierra Leone, approximately over 3,000 orphans that we are having. So there are so many reasons that have caused the increase of this one. We can see the war, the Ebola, the most life for sure, and now we are having the COVID-19, and we do know that we are going, and some children are going to lose their parents due to this pandemic. And often it's a pandemic because it's all over the world. Like you earlier said, we are not wishing for it, but at times it's inevitable. So these orphans, yes, we do have them in the streets, and that is a major constraint that we are having. And as well, we as an organization want to pass on a message to the government so that they can think over it, because our activity mostly we do it in the orphanage homes. But as well, when we go out there in the streets, we see so many orphans, we see so many caregivers. They are out there begging. Some of them go to do, they go out to do domestic work just for them to have their living. Yesterday, I was at Slumley Beach, like the police, addressing the police. I was at Slumley Beach. I see guys training these little ones coming up. They train them how to go and steal from people. I just imagine how can this happen in our society. And if you watch these kids, majority of them are homeless, and the orphanage that we do have in this country, they are not many. So the government as well should look at this situation and see how best we can tackle these street kids, to make sure that not only orphan but caregivers or less privileged, let them be at those homes so that they can have proper care. There is a saying which says it's better to raise up men, it's better to raise up children than to repair men. So these children, they are future leaders of tomorrow, and if we leave them going out there behaving waywardly, it's not good for society. We can just ask ourselves a question: what society are we planning for in the future? So the government as well needs to step in so that these orphans, and like for us as an organization, we have been tackling two orphanage, which is the St. George Home at Grafton and as well Blind School, for over 2 years now that we have been operating in Sierra Leone, because the Orphan Empowerment Society started in Nigeria, where we have our headquarters. We're in various countries in Africa. Sierra Leone is a chapter of it. So we all share the same aims to make sure that we help orphans and to be self-sufficient.
But has your organization tried to engage any ministry like the social welfare and others to reach the government in order to support and accomplish what is it that you have in mind to do?
Yes,
has there been an engagement made?
That could be our next step.
Okay.
For now, I can't say that we have done that, but that could be our next step. And even during this campaign for this day, we have get another concern from people that we need to push our activities from the city. We need to push our activities from the city to make sure that we reach in this provincial area, because that is causing the population in Freetown as well, because most of these orphans, because they don't have the good service that they deserve in their communities or villages, they decided to come back in Freetown. So the city is populated, so we need to decentralize our activities to make sure that we reach our civilian.
All right, well, thank you very much. It's Williamson Taylor from Orphan Empowerment Society. Many thanks to you and to all our other studio guests this morning. And thanks to you, our viewers. Our producer has been Reginald King. And we've been your presenters. I am Pupafo.
And I am Sonia Jafar. Have a lovely day. Stay blessed. And of course, be safe. Corona is still around.
Goodbye.
As a mother of the house, whenever I want to prepare palm soup, there's no need pounding palm fruit. All I need is Nkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base. My soup is done, and its preparation, it is not difficult at all. Nkulenu palm soup base, it's easily done with no difficulties. Just take few ladles and your soup is done, and its flavor, it's amazing. This is Nkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base. And this is Nkulenu's Ghana's original spice palm soup base. Iron fruit and turkey berries are naturally added.
Also available brown gold natural cocoa powder, sunny gold brown sugar, meat for full flour, chito, pisa and moringa. All available at Nyami Ado Enterprise, 1 Lower Waterloo Street, Freetown.
Nkulenu palm soup base,
Ghanaian original taste.
Dorayo, tato face maxinda.
Teki kagega punto nimba.
Yemi hele tato face maxinda.
Boyani penegema, Max. Ete motem bena auto Max.
Boto Max weekend be.
Unondi huna bente po imbe. Awa, bonogo, banturi wandi. Thomas Kokende. Yibaga Thomas Kokenda on logo ne nyoga biabi hen. Ba, isa koto wo o yin corona. Yang koten, besati babo ho yin corona. E benki kadukunaga bipadi bikende. O nandande map handande. Banto nanki kigon koribia bisia. Unkana wo ekute karmogondao, ma ekuta polisi sanu yiba to face mask nao. Benkute nato ya masko kia oine. Nena helembe mbato okende on logo. Ba, kudege guga corona onku kumi homa.
Dorayo, tato face maxinda.
Teki kagega punto nimba.
Yemi hele tato face maxinda.
Comment longwe no mukwe eko keko ne lo na le tun salon lwe. Ti anu mukwe.
Ngeji sha degwa la lemia. Kole to pe ka gokwe ko to publish ya to na women.
So bia me ngwe na se ma night lango la kesa lo eju corona bi yana.
So bia be la we la keko na lo do eju.
Pastor Pete, bo ka hu yi na. Dale Bonye mabende abudu mabeke corona tu salon lo ejuma. Corona salon vu apanda ndagewa. Fix massive bi yangi panda. Dale ngile wi panda anda. Ego corona virus ma aju roge. Na le kupe ngwa yela gi ya fix massive yi. Fa be gigu ga higbe jigo ko nya bodi satima. Fa ngiti ma gata ilo. Nyanda busa beti ba gata. Fa be jigo menti nde ye mu ya fix massive yi. Ya ma pa sanitizer sta jamu ya. To ndo hu ya lo mu ma. Ngeva piji male awe na hi corona e va ya. Corona la piji, mu pa la bimia.
Corona
Look what I'm saying. I don't know which time. Mon frère, eat, not talk. C'est pas bon. Hello? Hey, mon allen joker. Namina Mamadou, yes? Orange money. Shocking up promotion. Hello, we must go. Mamadou.
With 3 billion euros prize them, including one of the 5 brand new motorcar them. With the Orange Money Shocking Love promotion. Just do any Orange Money transaction for qualify. Just dial #144# for start and get ready for get your own share. Follow the live draw na SLBC TV or Star TV, or you can tune na your favorite radio station every Saturday from 7:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Orange Money, me phone, me couple.
Orange.
My name is Patrick Salia from Freetown, where we cover the impossible or untold stories.